steel outside the quotas. These duties currently amount to 25%. The new rules are due to come into effect on the 1st of July after EU states give their final green light. A partly cloudy Wednesday in Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to an overnight low of 10 degrees, peaking at 18. Pretoria 12 and 18, and Vereeniging 6 and 17 degrees. Noluthando Ngeno, Eyewitness News.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Comfort ends where Marawa Sports Worldwide begin.
Good evening, Dr. Marawa. I know your honorary doctorate will come to any of the universities. If not, it will come abroad from the USA. That you will be awarded as a doctor. I'm telling you, I declare that.
If it's shaking sport, we are already on it.
Intervela Pane Orlando, the stadium was overpacked. You know what, Mr. Mara, we don't want to see another stampede. This issue should be attended as soon as possible. We can't have this kind of situation. People will die one day. And this online ticketing thing, it's not working because we still people with fake tickets.
#MSW.
I was at Orlando Stadium over the weekend. Again, another logistical nightmare before the game. You can't even go to the loo unless Oskati. Can we please just look into that? Very soon, we're going to have another case of a stampede and we can't. We are way past that.
Those logistical problem issues that keep coming forward and people sharing all the clips on the internet. All I can say is I hope the authorities are looking at that and they're also listening, because these are the fans that are going to the stadium that are saying and warning, do something, because if you don't, we know what's going to happen.
This is where sport breaks, bends, and gets told straight.
They never cease to amaze us every season. Employing a coach only for one game. Brandon Truta announced today that he will be taking charge of Chippa United in their last game against Kaizer Chiefs. We wait to see what happens then if he loses that game.
Chipping away.
I did a fast for the whole of last week. For Paris to win Saturday's game. But unfortunately, we didn't win. I don't know anymore, So I answer fasting, it is born Saturday. I've always said, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Orbit College is also fighting to save themselves from the relegation. So, same like Durban City. Durban City came in this game fighting for an entrance into the top 8.
Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
Well, I can tell you that we also have a little bit of breaking news that's coming through from the Mamelodi Sundowns camp. News that one has been gathering in the past couple of minutes as well. I'll let you know on it in just a few minutes' time. We're going to also be heading off to Ghana, where Gary L. Smith will give us the lowdown. He's just come back from Mexico, where South Africa will be heading off to. As you know, Bafana played the opening match of the very first World Cup opening game in Mexico, featuring Bafana versus Mexico. It is the Tuesday edition of Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Let's go! The moments you remember. The games you can't forget. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets. If it matters in sport, it lands here first.
This matter will not be swept under the carpet.
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
It's in their hands. It's for them to lose it.
#MSW on 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
Well, the road to the biggest football show on earth is getting shorter and shorter. I mean, that's 23 days now. That's all that stands between us and the global spectacle that'll bring nations to a standstill. The 2026 FIFA World Cup in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Now, the excitement is building, believe you me. The anticipation is growing. And as for South Africans, I think all roads lead to the question, what really awaits Bafana in Mexico, if you had to think about it? While many have spoken about Mexico from a distance, I mean, our next guest decided to go and live it, breathe it, and experience it firsthand. Well, he packed his bags and also crossed the continent, so stepping into the heartbeat of a nation that's preparing to host the world. From the electric streets of Mexico to the passion and energy of Monterrey to the culture and flavor of Guadalajara. I mean, he's explored it all. He's immersed himself in the people, tasted the food, experienced the hospitality, learnt the culture, and also uncovered the hidden gems while filming a show called Hola Mexico for Sporty TV. And that's why this matters even more. I mean, Mexico City's Bafana Bafana will kick off their World Cup dream against the host nation before wrapping up their group stage campaign in Monterrey against South Korea. So that's why tonight we are not talking theory, we are talking first-hand experience. What can South African fans expect? I mean, what kind of atmosphere awaits us there? I mean, how welcoming are the people? How different's the culture? And could Mexico become a home away from home for Bafana Bafana? And that is why joining us all the way from Ghana, one of Africa's most respected football voices and a man who has been miles ahead of the curve on this story, African football specialist Gary L. Smith. Gary Malume, good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening, my brother. Thank you for having me.
You're a jet setter these days, eh?
Well, I try, my brother. The work calls for it, and we got to show up every day.
And you do
365, my brother.
And you do a brilliant job of it, Gary. I can tell you that much. I watched the snippet. My goodness, I think you just made one to pack up a bag and head off to that side of the world. I mean, now that you've experienced Mexico firsthand, though, Gary, while shooting for Hola Mexico for Sporty TV, what was the very first thing that struck you when you landed?
The same thing that first struck me many years ago when I landed in South Africa. The same thing that struck me when I landed first in Brazil for 2014. The first thing that struck me when I landed in Qatar for the first time a year before the 2022 World Cup, which was in each instance that the propaganda in the global media and the fear-mongering did not match the reality my two eyes were seeing, Robert. First thing. So, to go into detail, look, every country has its... I mean, I remember the first time I came to South Africa, man, I was terrified because in my mind, there was guns, they were shooting everywhere. I was going to be robbed. You know what I'm saying? And I'm walking around of course, Johannesburg has its tough spots, right? Cape Town has its tough spots. But so does my city in Accra, in Ghana. You know what I'm saying? So the global media have made it a business model of putting the fear of God into everybody before every World Cup. Starting from Germany was the only time they didn't fearmonger for obvious reasons, But for South Africa, you remember the things they said, my brother?
Terrible things.
Exactly. Like, it was as if immediately you came out of the airport in Josie, you were going to be gunned down. Bam, 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 bam. None of the warmth, none of the culture, none of the... And at the time, it turned out to be arguably the most welcoming World Cup ever. The Brazilians like to say that they beat South Africa to it because, their World Cup was so ridiculously fun. But again, you can excuse South Africa because the South African World Cup was in winter. You know what I'm saying? But for Russia as well, we had the same kind of propaganda. For Brazil, they said it was a hub of crime. There were gangs, there were this, there were that. For Russia, they said the same thing. And Putin was going to ensure that, if you said anything against the Russian government, he was going to throw you in jail. They said all sorts of nasty things. Don't let me even get started about Qatar, and about how they were killing people to build stadia and the place is full of slaves. They are using Africans, they don't respect anybody. I'm like, yeah, but, every country has its little issues, So I got to Mexico. I was expecting to come out of the stadium. I was expecting somebody to hold an AK-47 and be like, hey, hombre, give me your money, give me your wallet. Instead, it's like any normal city, very welcoming people, very warm, warm temperatures as well. The evenings can be a bit cold because I went, this is like 6 weeks ago, and it's essentially just like any other city, you know. And I went to shoot in all three host cities because, as your listeners may know or may not know, Mexico will be using three cities: Mexico City, Monterrey, and Guadalajara, like you said in your intro, Rob. So I shot in all three cities, and I happened to go to Pachuca as well, which is where Bafana will be based, to acclimatize before the games actually start. Pachuca is about 7,000 meters above sea level. Look, for somebody who comes from the coast of Ghana, bro, it was a lot.
What was that, humidity?
It was a lot for me. The elevation was crazy. The air was very thin. So because I know South Africa quite well, let me give an example as to people from around maybe like the Drakensberg Mountains, you know, Cape Town, around that side.
Yeah.
For those around that side, if you've been around that side, how thin the air can be is just like how Pachuca is as well, which is why I found it very interesting and very clever on the part of the South African Football Association and Hugo Broos and the management team to go and acclimatize there. Fantastic decision. But Pachuca is also a good choice to camp, in my view, because it has very similar culture to lots of South Africa, because that part of Mexico, even though Mexico as itself was colonized by the Spanish, Pachuca itself was for a long time the hub or the home of British people in Mexico. So there's a lot of British influence there. And of course, South Africa being an English country, I think that Bafana or people who are coming there will find it a bit easier at the time to feel at home over there as well. Plus, by the time they will be going, the temperature would have dropped quite a bit. That is to say, at the time I went, it was super hot during the day. Maybe it might be a bit chilly, but basically South African weather, and they will be used to it. Apart from the humidity that is expected during the day, that I think the weather forecast for that time and during the entire World Cup for most of Mexico, particularly Mexico City and Pachuca, we are going to have a lot of humidity as well. But I don't think South Africans should have a lot of problems with assimilating and having a good time there. And Rob, it's Mexico, man. I mean, the people are party people by default.
Yes.
So, yes, my brother. You know, I mean, if you ask me, there's a reason why Mexico is and will be the only country in this world that would have hosted the World Cup 3 times. FIFA knows something that we don't know, Rob. And I found out what FIFA knows that nobody knows. Brother.
Tell me.
My brother.
Tell me.
My brother. Oh, my brother. The people know how to party, my brother.
Sure. But we don't want to party, so Bafana will not party. They'll party when they qualify through to the next round.
Bafana are going to be working.
Yes.
The fans will be partying.
The fans will be
Bafana
partying.
should give the fans a reason to party, my brother.
And as you know, Gayton McKenzie has collected a whole lot of fans to travel with Bafana to go to Mexico. So they're going to bring the spirit of South Africa, whether it's humidity or not. All the legendary fans have traveled the width and the breadth of South Africa back and forth to Durban, Cape Town, and like you say, the cold of around the Drakensberg area. But when you see that, I mean, you've walked the streets, Gary. You've spoken to those locals. How football obsessed are they now with just, 23 days to go?
Oh, it's there. It's there. So let's start from the airport. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The airport is festooned with World Cup stuff. At the time I was coming, so the main airports, the Benito Juarez International Airport, is undergoing phases of renovation. All right. So phase 1 has been done, and they are going to stop the renovation. And then after the World Cup, they continue with phase 2. So what fans should be expecting is parts of the airport will look a bit spiffy, but it's going to be very functional. You know, they have optimized they have increased the number of carousels, and so getting your bags out will be easy, and so on and so forth. They want to turn it into a mega airport, one of the biggest in Latin America. That's what they want to do. But by the time people will come in, from the time South Africa will be getting there around the 31st of May, the airport will be, World Cup ready, basically. Now, the two other airports, because I went to all the other three cities as well, the Monterrey airport is a world-class airport, and it's amazing. Even though it's not the capital, it's amazing. The Guadalajara airport also is really good. So it's just the Mexico City, the capital airport, that is undergoing a bit of renovation. So you go out. Unfortunately, I don't have good news about traffic. Unfortunately.
No, what's happening with traffic?
Bro, Mexico City is a city of 20 million plus. My brother.
Hey.
So you cannot escape the traffic, my brother. Unfortunately.
But we haven't even arrived. I mean, we haven't even come there with the band. We're practicing like Mexican music already here at home, eh? I mean, is this the kind of vibe you're going to get?
Exactly. So there's a lot of traffic, but the music is everywhere. The mariachi, what you are playing, the mariachi music, the people are extremely welcoming. There's been a lot of public education about leaving a good impression because like I do, that Mexico has a huge issue with an international image problem, I would say, for obvious reasons, because they can't escape the reality that, there's a violence problem, there's a drugs problem. However, the good news is that there has been a truce between the people who are into the largest bits of crime in Mexico and the Mexican government. That is to say, look, the government is saying, we need people to come here and enjoy themselves so that they keep coming, right? You also, whatever it is you are doing, you also need people to come to Mexico anyway.
Yes.
So for 6 weeks, can we all be on good behavior? So, I mean, there's an uneasy truce that's there, but the fact of the matter is that, like in many countries, South Africa obviously is like that, there are pockets of the country where most people will tell you, don't go there, okay? So you would be advised not to go to the places you hear in the movies, the areas, Sinaloa and those places. Please don't go there. And because of that, the Mexican government has not put any football-related activities in any of those places because those places are controlled by the crime gangs and the criminal elements. But nothing is happening there. So if you are adventurous and you want to go there, then my brother, my sister, you are on your own. But apart from that, Mexico City, Monterrey is also home to an extremely vibrant, it is the gateway to North America, basically. So for those of you who love the North American feel to things, right? Monterrey, you are going to enjoy there. So because they have all the biggest shops that are in America. So your Walmarts, all the big shops in America. And so it's a very cosmopolitan. It doesn't feel very Mexican. It feels like you are in almost a European city with a lot of malls, restaurants, and things like that, fused with Mexican culture and stuff as well. And then you have Guadalajara. Now, Guadalajara is the home of Mexico's two biggest clubs. So think of their Orlando Pirates and Kaiser Chiefs, Chivas and America. That's the home of these two, the biggest clubs in Mexico. Now, quickly in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
America is like Inter Milan, right? They get players from all over the world, and they are owned by basically the Patrice Motsepe of Mexico. He's into oil, he's into aviation, he's into all sorts of stuff, and he has stupid money. He's filthy rich. Now, they get players and buy the best players from around all over the place. And then there's Chivas. Guess what? This team only play with players born in Mexico or who can trace their ancestry to Mexican parents. Can you believe that?
Sure.
So they are not, so the rivalry between the two teams is that deep, and they are a fantastic football culture. Unfortunately, South Africa will not be based there, but DR Congo will be based there. So, they are really going to be welcoming Guadalajara. And Guadalajara is the last port of call for people who are transiting from all over South America and want to go to the United States. So there are lots of immigrants there, and there's a very vibrant, global culture also there as well. So this is the Mexico that you can expect. And for South Africans, you are going to be based in the same place with Mexico City and who are the two other teams again? Remind me, please.
Czechia. Korea.
Czechia as well. So yes, this is what you can expect. But as always, like I always tell people, don't take anything for granted. Keep your wits about you. Be nice to people. It's not your country, and so just behave yourself, and you're going to have a good time. Also, most importantly, Robert,
okay.
The South African currency is doing well at the moment against the Mexican currency, which means that if you change your rand to Mexican pesos for the same amount of rand, you can get more beer.
Oh, geez. Okay. Don't get us excited here, man. Don't get us excited, Gary. Because I was about to ask you how expensive is it. I'm also expensively out of time. Conversations between you and I can last forever and ever. We're going to do a part 2 of this build-up here. We were just saying, you know what? You're fresh from there. We've seen the clips. You've done an amazing job, like I always expect from Gary L. Smith. My friend, thank you so much. You've gotten us so excited that day. This mariachi band is going to be part of my playlist.
And the last thing I want you to remember, is that 1 South African rand equals 1 Mexican peso. Yo!
Yay!
Yep.
Yes, we can't wait to leave the country. Come on, Mexico. Hey. Or do we do it to the Shakira style? Gary L. Smith, you're a superstar, man. Job well done, my friend.
Thank you, my brother.
I'll chat to you soon, eh? Follow Gary L. Smith on social media. He does an amazing job, hey. He was doing Hola Mexico. Like I said the other day, Shakira has got this tender for life, eh?
All the tears and the pain.
All right, from everything that Gary has said, I'd love your reaction to it.
Yeah, you're going to be gunned down.
Hashtag MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time. Hashtag MSW.
If you haven't tasted KFC strips, how would you know that they're coated in our 11 secret herbs and spices? How would you know that they're crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside? How would you know that you can get the strips bucket for one from just $49.90? If you haven't tasted KFC strips, how would you know how finger-licking good they are? KFC strips, available in original, zinger, or dunked. You won't get it till you taste them. KFC is finger-licking good. T's and C's apply.
Get the best value in town this Big Deal Wednesday at Food Lovers Market. Buy farm fresh 7 kilogram potato pockets for an unbeatable $29.99 each. That's 7 kilogram potato pockets for just $29.99 each. And save big on pork ribbon loin chops at an amazing $79.99 per kilo. Valid this Wednesday only at all Inland Food Lovers Market stores. It's in the experience.
You're not ordinary, right? So why not bet with the extraordinary? Bet on Lotto Star. Lotto Star offers world-renowned lotteries, quick games, real rush slot games, scratch card games, and live games. You could win payouts of up to 75 million rand instantly. Bet now on lottostar.co.za. Your world of live games awaits. Lotto Star is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18. NRGP 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
Managing your workforce shouldn't be complicated. That's why businesses choose Onacy, a proudly South African cloud-based payroll and HR solution. From payroll and e-recruitment to performance management and self-service tools, we streamline the way businesses handle their people. Scalable, secure, and always online, our system evolves with your needs because your workforce deserves the best. Switch to Onacy and experience payroll and HR done right. Visit onacy.com today.
Let's go down to business.
Not every business gets the recognition it deserves, but behind every great business is a story worth telling, a dream worth backing. That's why 947 loves Gavron Courier Express.
We love
Built on innovation, ambition, and a sharp understanding of the transport industry, Gavron Courier Express has grown into a trusted South African courier and logistics partner known for speed, reliability, and service excellence. From local deliveries to national, international, and cross-border solutions, they help businesses move smarter, faster, and further. Reliable delivery starts with the right partner. Visit gavroncourier.co.za today for more info. Gavron Courier Express, driven by innovation, geared for success. 947 Loves Gavron Courier Express is brought to you by Standard Bank Business and Commercial Banking. Let them enable your business growth with flexible solutions built for your growth journey. Visit standardbank.co.za/business today. Standard Bank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Quickly going to turn to the Loftus scenario where chaos erupted during the clash involving Morocco's ASFAR supporters. The Premier of Gauteng, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, if you've entered the stadium carrying pepper spray and God knows whatever other harmful object, then it means that those things have been smuggled in because they're not supposed to be inside the stadium. Those are also grounds for an immediate arrest.
Indeed, but that's what I'm saying. It happened over the weekend. I think the law enforcement agencies today prioritized it. They were going through the footage. It's a long footage, you can imagine. So they're also checking the entrances. There are also footages that people are working on. What I can assure you is that the law enforcement agencies are looking at it, Roberto. But it's quite clear, this crowd and this caliber of people, they're not here for sporting, they're not activities, they're not here for any other thing. They just want to disrupt.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Right, like I said at the top of the show, that bit of breaking news that came through you and I and everybody else that's been following the CAF Champions League. We know about the drama, exactly what the Premier of Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, was chatting to us about yesterday. It did come to my attention just before we went on air that Mamelodi Sundowns, who were due to travel to Morocco today, but the players, the technical team members are back at their homes. They spent a huge chunk of the day at the OR Tambo International Airport. The team had even gone through immigration. Imagine that. So the problem here, and we keep saying that if somebody doesn't intervene, I don't know where this is going to end up. But Morocco has not given Sundowns something we call the hired charter landing rights at the Mohammed V International Airport. It's as simple as that. So if Sundowns take off on their chartered flight, they would not be able to land in Morocco. It is, yeah. What I'm saying is that somebody has to intervene, especially from a CAF perspective. So there you have it. Sundowns spending the entire day, almost, at OR Tambo International. Unfortunately, couldn't take off, went through immigration, and that was it.
Good evening, Rob. Rob, just want to remind you that on this day, 4 years ago, we were celebrating the 100th show of MSW under the bridge in Katlehong. Still have the cap, the MSW cap that you gave me that day. Haven't worn it because it has a sentimental value on it. Hold it dearly. But want to also give credit to Roberto Martinez for adding Diego Jota's name in the Portuguese World Cup squad. What a way of celebrating the late star. Thank you so much.
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
MSW. Why? It's multicast, Baba.
You know the story. When excuses run out.
Such behavior can only be rooted out by VAR, Rob.
The truth clocks in.
It's tough. It's tough.
Hashtag MSW.
All right, coming up a little later on as well, we'll find out how exactly expensive is it to head off to the World Cup, the proper breakdown, how much it is going to be costing you, me, and everybody else. And thanks to everyone that's been sending messages of just how Gary L. Smith has sold them Mexico. Sold it to them. says, you know what, they're starting to look at plans to go over there and support Bafana Bafana. And why not? I would have been sold myself. But something important also happened today. As you know, football never, ever, ever sleeps. African football's just served up another fascinating chapter. The road to the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations has officially been mapped out after the draw that was held in Cairo in Egypt this afternoon. So now the debate begins. Bafana Bafana know exactly who stands between them and a place at the continental showpiece in Kenya, Tanzania, as well as Uganda. And South Africa has landed in Group D alongside Benny McCarthy's Kenya, Guinea, as well as Eritrea. But this isn't your ordinary group because Kenya is already automatically qualified as a co-host. That changes the entire complexion of this battle now. And then suddenly the margin for error becomes razor thin simply because only one other team from this group gets to book a ticket to AFCON. So Guinea, I mean, this is a side that's caused Bafana problems in the past. Maybe Eritrea, we can say, is an unknown quantity with its own kind of unique story. Kenya led by, the familiar South African football figure, as I mentioned, Benny McCarthy. I don't know if it's a favorable draw. I mean, is it a trap? Does Hugo Broos have enough quality and depth to navigate this path? So to unpack all the drama, all the possibilities, all the talking points from the AFCON draw, we are joined by one of the sharpest football minds in the country, the editor of one of our favorite reads, hey? He remains the editor of Far Post, Mtogozi Sidube, a man who has his finger on the pulse of the beautiful game. Mtogo, thank you so much for your time. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you so much. I hear you saying Hugo Broos is still going to be in charge.
Well, I don't know. There was a mixed feeling that he could not. I asked him the same question down in Cape Town. He seems to have been adamant this time that he's not going to be. Hey, Mtogo, you never know. If this man qualifies for the knockout stages, things change, my friend.
Yeah, well, let's see how it goes. But yeah, I have a feeling it could be a new man, one that you had in your studio recently. But let's leave it for Safa to decide.
Who's the next Bafana coach?
Look, no, I think it's still not clear at the moment. But
Mtogozi, you said something just now. Give me that name, and then we move on.
Look, I mean, we do know. I mean, Pitso Msimane has done very well at the club level, and there's a national team that needs a coach after the World Cup, and I think he would make a good coach for the national team this time around.
So your money is on Pitso Msimane. Okay, let's quickly, boss. We've got limited time. Your reaction? You first saw Bafana paired against Kenya, Guinea, Eritrea. How did you feel? Was it like a bit of relief, or did you think, oh my goodness, we're going to be in danger here?
A bit of relief. I mean, when you look at, Eritrea, not so much of a threat, but it's football, but not so much of a threat. You look at their history. They have not qualified for an AFCON. And then you look at Guinea, I think probably the strongest opposition in that group. They've been to 14 AFCON, so they've got that experience. But I think Bafana should be able to win that group if they continue the way they're playing. Kenya, of course, you've said they've qualified automatically, but I think they would also, Benny McCarthy will want to do well in these qualifiers as they prepare to host the tournament. I think it's a fair group, honestly.
I mean, obviously, Guinea immediately stands out as a major obstacle for us. I mean, are they the kind of team that Hugo Broos should be most worried about?
I love how you keep saying Hugo Broos here. Look, I think in that group, they definitely are a team that the next national team coach would have to worry about. You look at their history, you look at the quality of players that they have. I think they've got really exciting, players. Someone like Kirasi, who plays for Borussia Dortmund, has been very important for them. You look at the fact that they've been to 14 AFCONs. Their best finish was a runners-up finish in 1976. Very far. They've reached quarterfinal since 2000 4 times, which I think shows you the kind of experience that they have. So there definitely will be a threat to Bafana.
The SAFA, remember, they said that if Hugo Bruce wants the job again, you'll have to reapply for his same job. But all I'm saying is that if they qualify for the knockout stages, no one's going to be reapplying for anything. That will be an automatic thing that's going to happen there. But then tell me, though, how important is squad depth going to be, considering, the qualifiers are spread across, multiple windows?
Yeah, look, squad depth will be very, very important. Just to have those different, options in games. I think it's three different windows of the FIFA, breaks where these games will take place. So you want to have as many players that you can pick from as a coach, because one of those windows, I think, comes right in the middle of the season where you've got injuries, you've got fatigue. So I think it will be important for whoever will be coach at the time to have a broad base that they can pick from, competitive, still maintaining the same level. Should you replace any player, you bring in a player that's able to still maintain the same levels and still deliver the same performances that the first choice would. So I think depth would really, really be key.
I think a lot of people, including Coach Peter Msimane, when he was here on the show, did make mention of the fact that when you compare, and I think we'd all agree with this, what happened in Cote d'Ivoire in the last AFCON versus what happened in Morocco, we regressed. Those were his words. You would feel the same way. And after that, Mtogo, what then would be the expectation come this AFCON?
Look, I think we all agree that Morocco wasn't as good as Ivory Coast, but there's a number of factors. I mean, it was different. The big teams in Morocco showed up. But I think going into the next round of qualifiers, I think you want to prepare very well and make sure that the team, is in its best shape. I think we've had going into Morocco, there were a couple of issues, Also from a team selection point of view, you want to ensure that you pick the best team, the most competitive team that you can get, because having reached a semi-final in Ivory Coast, I think raised everyone's expectations. And going into 2027, Pamoja, you want a Bafana that goes as far as a final, because when you get to cup finals, then there is that possibility to then, win an AFCON, So I think it will be important to take that next step and go beyond just beyond a semi-final. I know it sounds difficult, but I mean, when I look at Morocco, you look at that game against Cameroon, you're thinking if really had taken that chance early in the game, if they'd taken the chances they got, there was one that Gavini got, the story would have been different. So it's possible. It's very much possible.
Talking about possibilities, the halls of the union buildings are going to be busy on the 27th. Bafana squad that's going to be heading off to the World Cup will be announced by the president on behalf of the coach of Bafana, currently Hugo Bruce. What sort of surprise is Mthokozisi Dube anticipating there, very briefly?
There's going to be a few surprises. I expect to see a surprise in the goalkeeping department. Sipho China has been exceptional, but obviously we know he missed the last camp, and it seems to be a player who's sort of out of the radar for the coach. But Brendan Peterson has done exceptionally well this season, so he's a player that has lifted his hand. So I expect to see a surprise there in that particular department. Then in defense as well.
Who do you drop?
Central defense.
Who do you drop?
Look, it's a bit of a tricky one, but the top three goalkeepers for me would definitely be Ronan Williams, Sipho China, and Brendan Peterson. But obviously the coach would likely have other ideas, judging by what we saw in the in the last camp where China was omitted and Ricardo Goss was part of the team. Ricardo Goss is very important. So,
what if Mthokozisi he takes 4 goalkeepers?
Ideal situation. Then one is left out. Sipochaine, who's been the best performing goalkeeper on the domestic scene, is also on the plane to Mexico. That would be the most ideal scenario.
Let's leave it there. Mthokozisi Dube, editor of Far Post, thank you so much for always being available for us.
Always a joy. Thank you.
Appreciate it there. That's just his analysis. A major announcement coming up on the 27th. Hey, what's to say who gets left behind? Hey, you scratch your head, dandruff comes out. I say, hey, maybe 4 will be the solution.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
Before this commercial, this auntie used to wish for miracles.
Now I am the miracle on wheels. Thanks to Lottoland, I've been the Oprah of Oudtshoorn. You get new school shoes. You get a gas heater. You get out of that toxic relationship. Groceries, flat tires. I sort everything. This scooter's got a basket in the front and blessings in the back. And Bluetooth.
Do you want to be an Auntie Betsy? Lottoland changes lives.
That's Liesel, before she got naked. Liesel checked her insurance premium and got angrier than the time a teenager called her Tunny. So Liesel got naked and got comprehensive car insurance and a way lower premium in seconds, all on the Naked app. There we go, Liesel. Get a car and home insurance quote now at naked.insure and see how much you can save when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Is there anything worse than man flu? Or sick kiddos at home? Don't worry, Mum. Everflu C Immune Booster has got you covered. Just pop, fizz and drink to help keep sniffles and sneezes at bay for little ones and grumpy grown-ups alike. Everflu C Immune Booster, your immunity's best friend. Pharmadynamics. Effective, affordable healthcare.
With Bob, you get one online experience under one roof. That's because we seamlessly link buying, selling, shipping, and paying. We make it all possible and we make it effortless. Shop with Bob Shop. Pay with Bob Pay. Send with Bob Go. At Bob, we are removing all the stops so you can shop, pay, go. Shopego with Bob.co.za.
Bucky Find, SUV Find, something to impress the ladies find.
At carfind.co.za, we were the first to take car buying online. Now we are the easiest. Our new website will find you the exact car that ticks all the boxes.
V8 double cab diesel engine 4x4 in green find.
Or suggest what's best for your budget.
Anything under 200,000 find.
Plus, you'll see every special or dealer offer before anyone else.
10K off this weekend only find.
You know what they say? Car find, car found. Carfind.co.za.
It's season 2 of Hey Duck, Riddle Me This.
Okay, Duck, now listen carefully. A man is his own uncle because the man is the brother of his father's wife's sister. In other words, his aunt's brother. Now, what should he use to remove the stains from all this dirty laundry?
Mac. Correct! Mac washing powder. Anything else is just wrong.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Most respected voices, Manchester City correspondent Ian Cheeseman. Ian, good evening and welcome to Marawa Sports Worldwide. What's the feeling? People still celebrating? Have they had the ticker tape parade?
There is going to be one, but it's not going to be until after the final Premier League game against Aston Villa to celebrate the departures of Bernardo Silva and John Stones. Also the trophies, of course, that City have won, not only the 2 first-team trophies, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, but also the FA Youth Cup. And, of course, it's 10 years of Pep Guardiola. Is Pep going to stay? So it could be that parade and party is also to acknowledge the departure of Pep Guardiola. He's either going to extend his contract or he's going to leave. I believe he's going to leave, but time will tell.
Nothing more to say. No more race to play. The winner takes it all. The loser standing small.
#MSW. #MSW.
Oh, but of course, the winner will take it all tonight. As I said, a big night indeed in the Premier League. Bournemouth up against Manchester City. Man City, if they don't win tonight, Arsenal wins the Premier League. It's a simple equation, straightforward, nothing mathematical as that. Otherwise, if Man City do win, and now that what Ian Cheeseman was talking about yesterday in our conversation about Pep Guardiola then became news a couple of hours later when we had left the studio. So Chelsea will play against Tottenham. So we know what Chelsea's season has been like. But this game means everything for you Spurs fans. And a loss is not going to be an option in any way whatsoever. All right, we're still talking about the countdown to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. As you can see, it is gathering momentum. And for South African supporters dreaming of following Bafana Bafana across the United States, as well as Mexico, Canada, the dream may come with a jaw-dropping bill. I mean, we're talking about flights crossing continents here, thousands of kilometers between host cities and hotel prices climbing through the roof. When a powerful US dollar stretching every rand, and a total cost, though, that could reach anything from 75,000 Rand to a staggering 250,000 Rand. So potentially consuming an entire year's salary for many South Africans. But the question is no longer just can Bafana Bafana qualify and make a statement. It's also can supporters afford to be there when history is made. So to unpack the numbers behind the football's biggest financial reality check, we're joined by IOL contributor and also personal finance lead writer Nicola Mawson, whose article, How Attending the 2026 FIFA World Cup Could Cost South Africans a Year's Salary. Believe that or not, I mean, it sparked a major discussion. Nicola, welcome to Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Hi, Robert and listeners. Thanks very much for having me on the show.
Fascinating article. This made a lot of us think deep and hard. And when people hear 75,000 Rand to 250,000 Rand, many kind of immediately think it can't be real. I mean, what shocked you most when you broke down the numbers?
Well, it's how quickly the ordinary costs spiral really out of control when you start converting everything into Rand. Sure, the flights are expensive and tickets are expensive, but then you've got to look at accommodation, internal US travel, the week Rand, that's hitting hard. And you can spend over 1,000 Rand on a fairly basic meal and transport without even trying. And then 3 matches and you've got a small car.
Sure. Now, that's the United States of America, right? We had a chat earlier on with another correspondent, Gary L. Smith, who says, maybe South Africans might just rethink going to Mexico because the numbers crunch there is completely different to the U.S., with the Rand almost matching the currency in Mexico. Might that be a better option for South Africans?
It could well be. Look, if you look at the United States, then to compare, you'd have to look at the cost of flights. The visa cost has been waived, and there's a few other bits and pieces that you would want to consider, sort of how much is the average hotel stay in Mexico versus the US, and are package deals better? So ideally, you'd want to run a spreadsheet with all of your costs in the international currency converted to rands. So, the international currency in one column, the rand value in another, and Mexico, US, and work it through that way.
Now, obviously, you and I and everybody else knows that the United States is a massive country geographically. So here's the problem. I mean, is the size of the tournament host actually the biggest hidden expense that supporters may be underestimating at this stage?
Absolutely. And you could be flying from the East Coast to the West Coast to, if you're looking at Los Angeles, Dallas, and New York only, then you're crossing entire countries multiple times. And you've got to consider domestic flight costs, the baggage cost. Are you paying to put your luggage on the plane, airport transfers, and hotel changes? And you've also got to take into account the time zone changes, because the US, there's multiple different time zones. So you've got to plan around that as well. Are you landing in enough time to get to your hotel, shower, change, whatever it is, and then get to the stadium so you're not in a total panic and paying more for a taxi?
And just basically acclimatize, because with the time zones being so different, the jet lag then kicks in and you find that you might have missed your game.
Can you imagine? You've paid all that money and you've missed out.
But looking at an average South African here, Nicola, look at their salary. But are we talking about supporters potentially spending something like 6 months to a year's earnings just on a football trip?
No, absolutely. Paying average net salary is around about 21,500 a month. And let's say you go on the cheap side and the trip is 75,000. That's 3 or 4 months' salary at the lower end. And that's before you consider if you had to pay, if you ended up taking unpaid leave or you work for yourself or that sort of thing and you're losing income.
We've seen South Africans as well.
It's quite scary.
No, it is. And that's the crazy part, though. But we've also been seeing and hearing lots of South Africans, Nicola, making sacrifices to attend big sporting events before. But could people actually end up taking loans, for example, or putting themselves under financial strain just to attend?
I must admit, it's often a dream, a beautiful game. And we do really love soccer and Bafana. We all love support our teams. And dreams matter, experiences matters, football matters. But you need to separate emotional spending from financial survival. If it's going to mean high interest debt, like a personal loan, wiping out your savings, or risky financial instability, then you've really got to reconsider it. And we are already seeing increasing numbers of people going to debt counselors, debt reviewers, to have their debt restructured to help them out of this very difficult situation financially that they're in. Even though inflation is at the lowest it's been in 21 years, it's expected to creep up. And interest rates are quite likely to go up either next Thursday or in 2 months. It's maybe not the best time to be taking out a loan. The World Cup lasts a month, debt lasts years.
Sure. I was going to say, what would your biggest financial warning be to someone who's already saying, whatever happens, I am going?
I would say, sit there and work it out very, very carefully. Where can you cut? Where can you save? Does it work out to get one of those package deals where you travel as a group? Did you get some friends together? Would that be better? And don't look at things in dollars. Don't go, it's $50. You've got to convert that to rand. Because suddenly $50 is 800 rand. And you need to think about that. And very carefully tabulate every single thing. And you use the internet for this. Ask AI, what do I need to know? Which flights do I need? Hotels. Help me find the cheapest hotel. Maybe not the dodgiest hotel, the decent price one. And do a table and work out where can you cut. You could say in one city where possible. Maybe avoid following every match, because you could join a bunch of people in assuming it's televised, in a local pub or a venue, book accommodation early, use public transport, and avoid hotels near stadiums. It might well work out cheaper to get a hotel further away and catch whatever transport there is to the stadium. So you might have to choose to combine only one live match with fan park experiences.
Sure.
At least in the country, I guess.
Yeah, maybe as a final one, Nicola, here our line is also misbehaving somewhat. South Africans, I've seen them being very miserly when it comes to tipping at restaurants, but there's a different tipping culture, though, in the US. Tell me more about that.
So for my sins, I tend to read a curated blog type thing called Not Always Right. And a lot of that is about tipping. And what has come through clearly is that waitresses and waiters and retail workers in the US don't earn a living wage. So if you don't tip, not only are they going to be really annoyed with you and likely spit in your food the next time, but you're actually depriving them of income. And it's not even really the 10% for good service we give here. It works out to quite a bit more from what I understand. You're talking 15 to 20%, if not more.
Yeah.
Just to help these guys, earn an income.
I was going to say, in South Africa, mainly, the waiters and waitresses usually ask if you can't give the tip in cash to them, because if you add it onto the bill and you pay with the card, it still stays within the establishment and they still get docked more money from a tip on top of what you've had to pay for the food.
Or sometimes they put it in a pot and they split it amongst everybody, so the slacker still gets a decent tip. Yeah, I suppose cash is the way to go. And speaking of cash, check with your bank what rate they're selling, because you're buying, they're selling dollars at, and then check around, look at some other reputable companies and check what rate they're selling it at. And if you're going to pull money out the bank, keep an eye on the trend line. It has been hovering at about 16.40 recently. This morning it was 16.65. So hopefully it'll drop back down to around 16.40. And, what do they always say? Buy low, sell high. I mean, I can't predict what's going to happen with the rand, but buy low, sell high.
It's the yo-yo effect, Nicola. A fascinating article, guys. If you haven't read it, get a hold of it. How attending the 2026 FIFA World Cup could cost South Africans a year's salary. Nicola Mawson, the author of it, who is an IOL contributor and personal financer. Nicola, thank you so much, man, for being on the show.
Thanks, Robert.
Appreciate
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you very, very much indeed. Nicola Mawson here, my guest tonight.
Hi, Rob. This is Enu from Report. Rob, even though I respect Mtogos Dube's opinion on Coach Pitso, I believe that, we need to move forward as a country and we need to show progression. I believe that we have many, many coaches that we can try for Bafana role. There's Helman Mkelela, who's been in the helm as an assistant for a long time. Maybe he needs to be given a chance. We have also Benny McCarthy. We have the likes of Gavin Hunt, Eric Tinkler. The list goes on and on. We need to try something new. I respect Coach Pitso. Yes, he's the best coach in South Africa, but also there's Rulani as well. So I believe that we need to show progression and try something else. And from Report.
Good evening, Mr. Rob. It's Surflang here, and good evening to Mr. Brigildes. Yeah, looking at the group with regards to the qualifiers for the AFCON, I think it would be realistic that Kenya and Bafana qualify for the 2027 AFCON, even though Kenya are automatically qualified as they are the hosts. But I think it would be also ideal, just on paper, looking at the groups. I have a feeling that Kenya is going to cause a lot of problems for Bafana simply because of the coach that is there and even the technical team holistically. But other than that, I think it's a very, very interesting group, and it's a group that we cannot afford to have any loss in. I don't see a loss, and if there is, I wouldn't simply say that, the opponent played better. I'll just simply say that Bafana were poor, because I'm expecting them to remain unbeaten in all of their games against the respective opposition. With that being said, do wish them all the best, and I also do wish Kojoko Pros all the best, as we are waiting with bated breath for the World Cup squad to be released. As other nations have released, even some African nations have released, we're just waiting for our own nation to have the squad released, and we're waiting with bated breath. Great show as always. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And Rodoput, thank you very, very much indeed. Thanks to all of you. Like I said, the breaking news story that we uncovered early on today was that Sundowns unable to travel today to Morocco. They're not being given their landing rights at the airport in Morocco. So that isn't happening yet. So again, it eats away on their preparation for the big final, the second leg. And how are they going to go about it? I mean, I just got a message now from one of the big Sundowns supporters, Uchos, saying that, even the supporters are struggling to get visas. So you're locking out the team, you're locking out the supporters. Oh, it's a good thing the time is up so that I don't say what I really wanted to say. We'll be back again tomorrow. This has been Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
The thrill, the drama, the action. Play the game again. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets. #MS.